it's like offensive to some, so I don't mean to offend anybody. So I think, Lisa, you were saying a little earlier, like you don't trust what Trump was saying, right? Was that you that was saying that?
I said it.
I thought it was Lisa that had said that. Did anybody remember?
You can just put it on me because I definitely said it. So go ahead.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So the truth of the matter is this, and I don't know who's aware of what I know. I don't know who's aware of, of this truthful information. So if I sound crazy, I apologize. I'm not trying to, put out some shit that don't make sense.
Hey, bro, hold on real quick, bro, before you go.
Sure.
So, this information you're gonna give us, is this information like in black and white data, or
like straight factual, bro? No made up, no storytelling. Yeah, absolutely. So, like when the whole 2020 thing hit, right? I started watching YouTube and I started seeing I was curious about the virus and what is this? Well, no, it's China, it's Fauci, and it was underneath like certain YouTube videos, and I see people writing, I smell Bill Gates, I smell George Soros, and I'm like, what? Like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? This is a normal human being. I'm just optimistic. I'm questioning what they're saying. I'm like, what does that mean, Bill Gates? Then I start doing research on Gates, and I find out that he owned vaccine companies since 1992. He was charged of Microsoft cards in the late 90s by the Justice Department.
He was Pornhub.
Well,
What does this have to do with the current conversation? If you got to
I apologize.
He's gonna go.
Y'all gotta let him go so he can get it over with.
Yes, that's what
I'm gonna get right to you. I'm gonna get right to your point. It's gonna lead to that if I just can have a minute. So, long story short, I find out that Gates is behind this entire thing, right? Then I start doing some more research, and then what's that?
Haitian, please don't do that.
Yeah,
just let us
What's
go.
that? I didn't hear what he said, my bad.
Nothing. Keep going. Hurry up, please.
So then I start reading some more shit, and I start not just reading. I'm talking like deep documentaries. If you want to find out truth and information, it's not on YouTube. It's not on Google. You have to go to websites like BitChute, and BitChute will play shit that YouTube won't play. Right? So I'm doing like research, and I'm trying to figure out what's really going on, like who's behind what, right? And then I come to find out Donald Trump went broke back in the late 90s. I don't know if anybody knows that.
Yeah, and Russia bailed them out.
Casino,
He wrote about it in his book. He wrote about that.
No.
I want y'all to shut the fuck up so we can get through this shit.
I need to hear that shit.
We need to not hear y'all.
So somebody dropped him off. Wait, what
I don't
happened?
see him in the room. I don't know if he got booted out, but yeah.
Did all of his stuff disappear in the chat? Who would do that?
What's his name?
Yeah, I think he was.
I didn't kick him if he was kicked.
I definitely didn't kick him.
I was playing a game on my phone.
Yeah, he was kicked. He was kicked out. He got.
Black, you ain't taking this now. I'll let you get it seriously, Black.
What was his name?
Say something. I want to say something.
He was.
God damn it. So my dear his name
Okay, so
I'm speaking. Can I
wait,
spend
hold on, Brooklyn.
can I say
on
something,
my
Lisa?
stage. Hold on for 1 fucking minute. Who kicked August?
Stand on it if you did that shit, man. To say you did it.
Okay, so when I find out who's doing this shit and don't want to say nothing, I'm promising on everything. You can just forget it. Because I've asked. You can hit me in the back if you don't want to say it on the stage. But you guys don't even know. Why would you do that? What was the problem?
He might have kicked himself, Lisa. He new to the app.
But JD look, Brooklyn, I'm not at my phone. I'm not here to babysit nobody, right? I work today with my fucking boot on. And then I come in here, I'm just asking, who would kick August? And all you gotta do, if you don't wanna say it on the stage, you can hit me in my back channel and let me know. But JD said all his stuff disappeared in the chat. Now, doesn't that mean you was kicked?
If he ain't in the chat no more, he was kicked. JD, he was commenting in the chat before?
He was wasn't like he was being crazy or nothing.
In the chat to bring him up, so he said he was new to the app. He like, how can I speak? So I was explaining to him in chat, that I sent him the invite so he can get up, and then that's why I was telling him, hit your, because it didn't seem like he knew how to get off mic, but no, we was chatting, but then when I saw him on Zero, friends were like, oh no, this guy's gonna be up.
But yeah, but he was mad respectful though too, so I don't understand what with it. Like he wasn't going crazy or nothing.
I know. I mean, you take some things to a little bit way too far. We got the room open. This is a touchy subject. If your nerves can't handle these type of subjects, don't come to the 420. Because it makes it hard for us to curate a space and get people talking while you're on silent and kicking everybody that's talking. You know what I mean? It takes a lot to do this. If I work all day and come in here and curate a space, at least let the space. But if you feel in your heart that you cannot hear something that somebody else is saying and you feel you have to fully remove them from the room and change the flow and the temperature of the room, just delete yourself first and then come back later when you can it's more palatable for your taste. That's all we ask. I was listening to this dude trying to cook my steak, and then all of a sudden it was nothing. It was air. All right, go ahead. Now watch what happens after this. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you guys?
Or y'all could drop me if you want to. Whoever the fuck is the ghost dropper. But I just want to say to you nigga mods that just insist on being mods, could y'all please shut the fuck up when people are talking? Cause all them ad-libs is just, you add to the frustration. I be wanting that shit to be over with, and you prolong it with the extra shit. Please and thank you, as an audience member.
Better pull up the BK, have a Louis King.
I want to hear where the fuck he was going with it, because I still don't understand the direction that he was going.
Where can I find
Wait, we gotta move on. Now, what? That ship is out. What's next? Y'all lucky I'm not a mod. I would never want to be a mod.
Logic, Brooklyn, because exactly what I said.
Don't do that.
Nothing happened. Now it's silent. So whoever did it should speak up.
That's some real whole shit.
Start the conversation over.
The fact that he was about to educate us too.
We don't know about the educators, but I want to hear him finish his thought.
Brought him up while you were
Hey, Haitian, do you have a conversation now?
What's that?
Do you have a conversation now?
Do I have a conversation?
I have an announcement about a.
Hold on. Do you?
I'm just asking, brother.
And I'm asking you, do you?
Whatever you want to talk about.
Why the fuck are you addressing me? Let's talk about that.
Why are you so hostile, bro?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get back to the topic. What were we talking about just a minute ago?
Okay, regarding Iran, folks, I have a bilingual, binational town hall on Wednesday, 3 p.m. at, here in Clubhouse. 3 p.m. Wednesday. And the guest that I'm going to be interviewing is one of the leaders of Massachusetts Peace Action. So I wish I could, if you guys could send me an email, I can put my email in the chat and I'll send you the announcement that you can also come on Zoom. It's a simulcast between Clubhouse so that people inside Iran can speak, and with Zoom in the United States. So if you're interested, I will put my email, moji.aga@gmail.com. send me an email and I'll send you the moderator the announcement for this. But if you can't do it and you only have access to Clubhouse, 3 p.m. Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. And,
Okay, 3 p.m.
yes,
Eastern on Wednesday. Y'all keep that in mind. Sounds like an interesting spot.
and the name of the house is called Iranian Nonviolence, and the room it's called Peace-Seeking Iranian Veterans. That's the organizer. I am the founder of Peace-Seeking Iranian Veterans, as well as Iranian Nonviolence Project. And we are hosting. This is our 17th binational bilingual town hall, in which I invite leaders of American civil society groups to come and talk. And it just happens that on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, our guest is Paul Shannon, who is one of the most experienced peace activists, has worked for the American Friends Services Committee, and is a leader of the Middle East working group at the Massachusetts Peace Action. And if you Google Moji Aga, which is my first name and last name, as you can see, then you'll see my background. But if one of you sends me an email at the email address that I just put in the chat, I'll send you the full announcement.
Thank you for that, Moji.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry that I was speaking my heart, and I am so glad that whatever the mechanism that has brought the guns being silenced. I am sick and tired of living under oppression, under violence, under barbarism in the name of civilization. So thank you for having a civilized room, although it gets heated, that's normal. And I'm sorry if my tone of voice caused some people distress, but we need to unglorify violence.
We appreciate you. We're trying to let you speak your mind, speak your piece, and everything. We just try to keep a little bit of order. I'm following you. If you can follow me back, and also go to the top and hit join.
I am too old for following this and following back because I can't keep track of the Clubhouse changes its rules every day.
You are not too old to scroll up top and follow the house, bro. You tripping.
No, it just says join in blue. Just press that, and then you'll automatically start the house, so you don't have to look for us, okay?
You can promote your house here, but you can't scroll up and follow the house.
Yeah, we allow promotion of people's
Anyhow, if you send me an email, I'll send you the announcement for the Wednesday bilingual, binational people. Hopefully people inside Iran are going to be connected back to the internet so that we can have the leader, the inside Iran.
I shot him. If I do it, I'll tell y'all I did it.
Why do you do that? He wasn't.
Because he's not joining the house and he's promoting his house. That's disrespectful.
She tells them to do that, Gemini.
Okay, well, I did it. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was me.
Okay, yo.
He did brush that off when he asked.
Yeah, this is Clubhouse, you guys. Let me tell you one thing about me and Clubhouse. This is an app with little circles with people's faces in it. Sometimes I don't even know if it's the real faces, but that's all it is to me. I try my hardest not to take things personal on this app. Since I am here to hear people speak, that's why I logged on. Otherwise, I could be on Sirius XM, Urban View 126, listening to people make sense. But I'm not. I prefer to be here with you guys. So I don't take this shit serious. If he doesn't want to join the club, it's no big deal to me because I don't think I'm going to the thing on Wednesday. But if anybody wants to go here, y'all are adults. You're welcome to do whatever you do. Do you? So I'm gonna try to get us back on track here. I'm also losing my guest that I wanted to have come in.
I was about to ask you what happened with that.
Yeah, this has turned into a nightmare. I gotta get her to eat. If she doesn't want to download Clubhouse, I can see why. I can get her to maybe talk on two separate lines, but then that means I'll have to use my daughter's phone, and it's gonna be kind of hard because I told her I wanted to take questions. So she's really looking to talk to the person who asked me for a name, and I really don't want him in my room. Not right now, because I haven't eaten, I haven't hydrated, haven't had water all day, so I'm not in the mood for that particular person. And those who know who I'm talking about know who I'm talking about. But I'm still trying to get her in here so we can at least dialogue with her. So, you guys are not making me feel comfortable with all this shooting people and dropping people. All this other kind of stuff is going on. I feel like, wow. So let me get us back on track because there's a lot of interesting things happening while we're in here talking. It seems like this deal is not as solid as we thought it is. So let me try to play this one little.
Miss Patty, the gentleman said he's gonna send you an email. He can send an email, but he can't follow the club, follow us. It's called press your finger on the screen, brother.
Yeah, but
Why are y'all?
wait. Now, come on now. I looked at his profile, and you can see that he's tried to create house after house after house. So then, in my mind, it's like, okay, he doesn't know how to even create a house. Like, y'all, come on, man.
Yeah, and why are y'all getting more offended than the person who started this place, Lisa? That doesn't make.
And you guys can look at his bio, put it translated, you see what he's saying. He's acting.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. Like he's activated. He's trying to do stuff for his people. I don't know. This y'all room. So
No, I just, Petty, like I said before, what I do all day doesn't involve a lot of conflict and arguing and going back and forth and disrespect. So when I try to leave my job, I try to leave the way I came. Because when I go to work, I can't take this with me. I can't take the way we comport ourselves on Clubhouse. I can't do that. So, and sometimes I don't feel like the boomerang effect where I come on here and gotta be a straight bitch. I just don't. So I'm doing what I feel comfortable in my own skin. And that's trying to be nice to people and treat them the way I want to be treated. It might not happen that way all the time, and so be it. I'm not going to even fight with that. But I just want us to be able to hear people out. Everything that someone's going to say to you, you're not going to like. I worked with MAGAs the other day, and I actually dig them. I mean, I don't like those two guys. I sent you pictures of them. I let you talk to them. I let you guys know. And they said they voted for Trump. These are young men in the Air Force. Today, I'm working with my patient was Russian, but my scrub person was from Ukraine. I have to be able to sit in those environments with no windows for the case started at 7. We didn't get finished till 7. I have to be able to sit in those environments with those people. If I acted the way you guys act, I would fucking have a stroke and lose my mind. And we talk about this shit. We talk. So, you know what I mean? So try to, let people express themselves for who they are. If you don't like it, like I said, the best thing to do, either do like me, put your phone down, walk away, come back in 2 more minutes and see if they're still talking, or either excuse yourself and then come back when you think you're fit to be in the conversation.
Well,
that's it. It's real simple.
Did the Ukrainian cuss about the Russian the whole time he was?
They're two different people. The Ukrainian was from, he said he knew how to read, which is really interesting because one of the other people in the room said, you don't speak Russian, but you can read it. So we went back and forth and, everybody got their shit to say about whatever. But no, I mean, everybody's cool. Everybody was cool. It's a good room. Okay, so let me play this. Maybe this will get us back to where we were. And this is okay, so has anybody else seen any other news, any breaking news about this deal? Because I don't think it's not what Trump said it was. Could we just start that as the working premise of the conversation? It's not what Trump is trying to sell you. So let me play this and maybe we can get back on track.
HEU, the highly enriched uranium, I don't know where it is. Maybe U.S. intelligence does, but it's really confusing. And you cannot
connected to Mrs. Imac
on nuclear program into zero. There's knowledge. So we need negotiations that are serious. There are steps ahead. And that's what I would be counseling the president on.
On the air tonight, we do have breaking news as President Trump says there is a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran. And for the moment, as we are coming on the air right now, missiles are continuing to be fired back and forth as we are watching all of this very closely because this could, of course, be a potentially major development. A diplomat who is briefed on the talks tells CNN that Iran has agreed to the deal, and a White House official tells us Israel has agreed on the condition that Iran stop its strikes. We have not yet heard anything officially from the Israelis. We just got an update from the Iranians. I'm going to read to you in a moment. But the backstory here is this. President Trump wrote on Truth Social at 6:02 Eastern tonight, quote, "It has been fully agreed to by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire." There was a flurry of activity at the White House before that post went up today. Officials had been rushing back and forth to the Situation Room to monitor the latest on the ground as Iran was retaliating. And a source tells us that President Trump was on the phone with both the Israeli Prime Minister and the Emir of Qatar today. The president asked Qatar to work on persuading Iran to get to this agreement, as the Vice President, J.D. Vance, was coordinating with the Qatari Prime Minister. All of this was playing out just before the Vice President appeared on TV tonight.
We were actually working on that just as I left the White House to come over here, so that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line. Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it.
That's what the Vice President had to say as this was being brokered. He said shortly before he appeared on television. And as far as how all of this is expected to go down, according to the president, he laid out a bit of a complicated phasing and process earlier tonight, writing officially Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire.
Okay, and down on the ticker of this is CNN, as you can hear, Iran said there is no ceasefire deal.
Hey, Lisa, there's reports showing that Iran just shot missiles now.
Yeah, I'm watching. If you I said, if you guys go, no. I want you guys. You're right. You're absolutely right, JD. If you guys go on to YouTube, there are a couple of sites that are showing. They have no words, so, and they just have stuff at the bottom. They'll show you active strikes that are going on.
Get CEO's ass back in here.
Hey, I did want to say this. We haven't talked about NATO and the EU, the European leaders, and they said that they are actively seeking to de-escalate the situation through diplomatic channels, urging Iran to consider its stance and engage in negotiations. The international community remains focused on preventing further conflict and promoting stability in the region. But they're also saying that the EU's position is a lot different than NATO. NATO is saying that we'll offer support, basically cautious support, under certain conditions because they are concerned about the nuclear capabilities of Iran as well. And the EU is just saying de-escalate. They're being an advocate for diplomacy, and that's where they are. And they all had a meeting today in regards to what's happening. They had a meeting in Hague. So there's that.
I was talking about earlier, this is the typical phases of a ceasefire. So number one, you're going to have immediate cessation, right? Then you're going to have your stand down orders. Then you got to do your verification and monitoring, and that's going to be like the UN that steps in, or another neutral country, like Qatar, right? So they're working with Qatar, and they're going to have to monitor both sides. Make sure that drones, satellites, on the ground observers, whoever's in the fight, certain things are, no new attacks is happening, right? So then you're going to have like humanitarian personnel have to come in. It may be a Red Cross. It can be someone that the UN provides. And then it's going to be the diplomatic talks. And when you do the diplomatic talks, that's when they come to their long-term de-escalation plan. And doing those de-escalation plans, that's going to be whatever they're going to have a security guarantees. We were talking about this earlier. Like it's not someone broke a ceasefire. This is a phased ceasefire. You got to remember that nobody trusts each other. Israel and Iran are not going to trust each other. That's why they said within 48 hours. If y'all paid attention to the some of these articles, it says when someone said it was 12 hours and then they said 24 hours for Iran, it's because Israel is saying I don't trust them, and Iran is saying the same.
Because Iran is going to be in a different place than it was.
You know, it's interesting that any type of ceasefire that Iran or anybody who's opposing Israel is going to adhere to is at the detriment of that party. I just go back to the point where there's a ceasefire with Hamas and that didn't happen. There was a ceasefire with Lebanon and that didn't happen. There was a ceasefire with Gaza and that didn't happen. So it's hard for me to kind of see how Iran would be like, let me adhere to this because I can trust you guys. And clearly, there has been a violation at every opportunity. So I am hoping that facts has told me something completely different.
So where was the violation if it's a phased? Because during phased ceasefire, the only thing that gets paused is heavy attacks. They're going to continue to fight until they get their stand down order. So I'm kind of confused. There's no violation right now.
Yes, correct. Right now.
So,
I'm just
right,
saying,
so,
like other countries have had a ceasefire with them, and Israel has went against it. So it's hard for me to kind of not see them being in a very defensive position. Because within 2 weeks they may just fire back again. I don't know.
So if they fire back again, that means that whatever conversations are being had, because you know they're going to have to. So with phased ceasefire, you stop. You stop. The heavy attacks stop, or they put a pause on them. But that doesn't mean they stop fighting.
Given what it has gone through. So I think
what has to happen is diplomacy. Now, if certain criteria isn't met on one side or the other side, then guess what? There's no ceasefire. It's not going to end. That's why it's called phased.
Announced that we had found through intelligence a secret facility named Fort Hope. The IAEA.
Okay, so as of 4 minutes ago, I'm understanding everything. I'm just bringing you guys the news. As of 4 minutes ago, sirens sound in Israel as military says that it has identified missiles launched from Iran. The Israeli military said it has identified missiles launched toward Israel from Iran and that its defense system was activated. A short while ago, a siren sounded in several areas across Israel. Okay, got that. The alert comes after Iran's foreign minister hinted hostilities may have ended and that Iran would halt its military response if Israel stopped its strikes on Iran by 4 a.m. local time Tehran. It is now shortly before 6 a.m. in Iran. So I guess well, I don't know, but there you go. That's just the news. I don't want to add anything to it. Anybody want to comment on that? Add or subtract?
Maybe not tested, maybe not tested at all.
Well, can I ask a question? Is there a reason why Iran needs to stop firing first and then Israel? Because maybe I missed out and I'm coming back in. You know, I had my.
I peeped that. I don't know. I got that same thing up. I don't know.
That's
Anybody know?
Something that's a conversation between the Qatari government and maybe the United States. Because obviously Iran is not going to trust the U.S. or Israel. And that's why That's why the prince is talking back and forth. He's being the mediator.
He said, together with all Iranians, I think our brave armed forces who remain ready to defend our dear country until their last drop of blood.
Iran has to stop first because they are defeated. They lost the war. It's as easy as that. You know, like Qatar, what they did to Qatar was an unforgivable sin, because Qatar helps Iran a lot financially and also diplomatically. So when they hit them today, it was to be honest, that's how I see it. Iran was defeated when America entered the war. When they bombed the nuclear reactors, they were defeated. And all what happened after that was just like, you know, when you slaughter an animal, they start moving a lot. But this movement doesn't mean they're still alive. No, that means the life is coming to an end.
What? Anybody want to add or subtract to that statement? Maybe
no. Why do you have all the crazies coming out at this time?
No, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm from. Hold on.
Okay.
No, hold on, guys. I'm from the Middle East. I know. Maybe I know more than you. I'm not saying I know a lot, but I know more than you. And
okay, go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, seriously, I'm serious about that. Look, Iran, it is.
Where you from? Are you from? Where you from?
From the Middle East.
Iran?
No, not from Iran. I'm Arab.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that the animal is mortally wounded, and it's moving. It's getting its last death throes before it dies.
Exactly. That's what Iran did after America hit them that hard, because you know they were protecting their nuclear power, right? They have no nuclear power anymore. What would
money,
they?
Money. If you hit a nuclear installment, isn't there some type of like I don't know, release of nuclear material, maybe? Or it just all like encapsulates itself into some protective egg and disappears? Isn't there some type of come on stage, just like
uranium residue.
Yeah, how do you know?
Radioactive residue. There will be some type of residue.
Radiation.
Yes. So Lisa, Cy Hirsch, who is well known from reporting back in Watergate, he forecast this, if anybody knows who Cy Hirsch was, over the weekend that Trump was going to strike from his insiders. So I'm not saying that Iran did not see this coming, because that was publicized with Cy Hirsch's report. I read it. And he said that there were war plans drawn up and they're going to strike on the weekend. So I have to think, do you really think that they would have not moved some of that enriched uranium? And I'm not saying that they haven't gotten all of them, but there's no report by any IAEA or any other nuclear fuel bodies that can say with some degree of certainty that that program was obliterated. And maybe there were setbacks, they probably were, but Iran has a lot of white nuclear students in their university. It's a very well-educated population. That information it's common. It's not like it's hard to replicate again. They have the know-how, they have the manpower. So they're set back, but to say it's obliterated, no, I'm not buying that. But I'm a skeptic.
And to take it a step further, the United States has a technology that will let us know if we actually truly obliterated it. Like, it would be known. We would be able to definitively say, yes, we did. And we're not saying that. We're saying that we crippled them, they're not capable of utilizing it, but we're not saying that we obliterated it.
Okay, so
I think Trump said that. Sorry.
J.D. Vance definitely did.
Guys, what we did to Iran wasn't like a heroic thing. It's just, Iran lost a lot. And since they lost Hezbollah in Lebanon and then Syria, Iraq is already somehow controlled by the US. So the head of the snake, which is Iran, was already alone. So this is what I understood from what happened during the last 8-9 months, maybe more a little, since September 2024. So Iran found itself alone. No Syria.
With Pakistan, China,
No.
North Korea, and Russia.
No.
All alone.
Russia is already sinking in Ukraine. But China is already hurt with the tariffs. But North Korea, do you think North Korea can do? North Korea can be dangerous if you touch it itself.
But Amy, you're in the wrong room. When you say things, we're gonna push back because we in this room, check it out. We do something called research, and I'm here in front of 3 terminals and an iPad and a phone. So usually when you say something, I'm gonna if I don't know, like you said, I don't know what you know, I don't know as much as you know, but I can read, right?
Sure.
I graduated from college. So my parents won't feel that they wasted all their money, I try to rely on some of the skills that I learned in that place called college.
Yeah, please do it.
So we know from yesterday that and the day before, and I think the day before that Pakistan, is it North or South Korea? Because I have to go back and look at my notes.
North Korea.
Okay. China and Russia. So we're talking about nuclear powers. And Russia said that it was going to give Iran a nuclear weapon if they had to. That's everywhere. Go Google it. It's everywhere.
Okay.
But
look,
I kind of agree with him though.
I'm listening. I'm not disagreeing with him. I'm just adding to what I know. I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just adding what I read.
So that is true. They did say that, but Russia and China still didn't intervene. And then you got to look at what happened when it comes to Abraham Accords. During the Abraham Accords, that was a way of isolating Iran. So like now you got you got the Middle East coming together along with Israel, and if you actually look at it, it was to condemn Iran and it was to not support them. It was a trade agreement. While people think it's a peace agreement, if you actually read it, it was about trade. So
look,
he is right.
Look, guys, it's the Middle East is like a very complicated puzzle. Like what you see as an enemy, maybe they are doing a favor to the U.S. So, look, China. You mentioned China. We go one by one. Actually, you said Russia. Russia is the easiest one. They are sinking in Ukraine. They are sinking. They actually need help. They cannot provide help. So Russia, put it away. China actually, they want a strong Iran, but they don't want a too strong Iran. They don't want it to be strong too much, because if Iran feels they are able to close the Strait of Hormuz, that gonna hurt China a lot. Maybe 40% of their of the oil comes from the Strait of Hormuz. So they don't want Iran to be strong enough to do that. Okay, so they cannot help her that much, and they need Iran. In the same time, they need a strong Iran, but strong enough just to cause some trouble to the U.S., but not too much. They want it to be strong for a longer term, so the U.S. will focus more on the Middle East rather than the Far East. Because if the U.S. gets rid of Iran, and Iran is gets into the I'd say it like obey to the U.S., that will be really bad to China, because they're gonna focus on the Taiwan and what's going on in the Far East. So they don't want it. They don't want the U.S. to get rid of the Iran, and as I said, they don't want Iran to be too strong. So this is China. Forget about it. North Korea is, yes, they have nuclear power or nuclear weapons, but only enough to defend themselves. They cannot provide nuclear to Iran. And other than nuclear weapons, they don't have a big industry in weapons in general. No, they don't. So put North Korea away. You said Pakistan. Pakistan is, yes, they can defend themselves and they do good in wars, but they cannot be involved in other wars. They are too poor. They can barely feed themselves. Pakistan relies a lot on Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia doesn't like Iran. So even if Pakistan want to help Iran, Saudi Arabia will prevent that from happening. Iran is isolated, guys. It is isolated, and this is my understanding. And you said you are in the wrong room. No, actually, I'm in the right room. You're very respectful, and I appreciate that.
I want to ask you one thing when you're done.
Yes, I'll be done in a second. Iran wanted to give away their nuclear power or their nuclear program, but they didn't want to do it in an easy way. They wanted like a scene, a show for that. So, okay, let's do some, bomb us, and we're gonna bomb you, and then we say, okay, we're in a deal. Can you believe that America bombs 3 nuclear sites in Iran, and then they launch 2 missiles, hurt nothing, even dogs, they weren't hurt. And then you say, okay, let's do a peace agreement. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Even with your neighbor, you cannot do that. If you fight with your neighbor, you fight with them, and you fight them for a little longer, Iran said, okay, let's do a peace agreement. Okay, I'm done, sir. Go ahead.
I think the reason why people don't want to fight, they don't want to kill people, or just people are tired of refugees.
Ask him a question. Hold on.
People are tired of refugees, but that's it. I'm done.
So my question to you is, you said Saudi Arabia will try to stop Pakistan if they win and adopt Iran. How so?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you clearly. Say again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, I said you stated earlier that Saudi Arabia will try to stop Pakistan if they went and help Iran. So I'm asking you, how so? How do you feel? In what way would they stop them?
Yes. So Pakistan relies on financial aid from Saudi Arabia and from the Gulf states in general, like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Bahrain. All these countries provide to the Pakistani economy. And they sometimes they give away money to this country, but they're all Muslims, and they are like from the same the same sect, like Sunni Muslims. Yeah, Sunni Muslims. This is the first reason, and also there is a lot of Pakistani people, like Pakistan. They send their people to work in the Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, and when I say like millions, maybe more than 10 millions, 20 millions, I don't know how, like the exact number, but it's like a huge number of people move from Pakistan to the Arab countries, and these people, they help like their country with billions of dollars. So Pakistan, if these countries like want to hurt Pakistan economically, I'm telling you, they're gonna starve. They're gonna starve.
So while you were talking, I looked it up, and you're correct. So thank you for your explanation.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir.
I've been waiting for somebody to come in and talk about the ally.
I'm curious too, like, let me ask a question. Do you think that if the United States or, destroyed places where a large number of people are, right, that we're looking at another situation that came out of Iraq and Syria, which was just a bunch of refugees saying, I can't live here anymore, I gotta go somewhere else. And then they start going to Europe, which is, I think at this point, for a lot of Europeans, they're not as tolerant as they were before taking refugees, I think that might be also in the calculus in this. You want to disrupt them, but you don't want to put them in a place where they're so desolate that they want to migrate and go to somewhere else, because nobody is tolerant right now, or extremely less tolerant than they were before, of having refugees from war-torn countries. Any comments?
I agree, and not only Iranian people would move to like as refugees to Europe. Actually, all the countries surrounding it, like people from there, gonna move to Europe. And as you said, the Europeans wouldn't tolerate that anymore. Good point, my man.
Just saying, it's a hot mess, but hopefully we can just stop. Damage is done. Okay, we get it. Come to the table, talk. But let's see how long it lasts. It just needs to stop.
I don't know. I think a lot of details are still missing in the sense of ceasefire. I hope to hear more details about how they're going to rein in Iran and their ability to enrich uranium, because that was the preface allegedly for the strikes in the first place. And if they haven't, because I don't believe they've obliterated that. I don't care what they said. I don't believe that they've obliterated their capacity to enrich uranium, or that they've obliterated the amounts that they have. And until they solve their problem, this is not going to stop. You might have short bursts of ceasefire, but like anything, if it does again, it's going to stop again.
Can I add one more observation? I thought that the initial idea of the nuclear facilities was for power, right? And so even if they were using it for 2 or more different purposes, and now that these facilities are now damaged, is there a indication that it is just disrupting their energy grid, or are they are they living off of power from a different source outside of these nuclear facilities that were initially intended for energy use? Am I asking the wrong question? I don't know, man.
No, say it again. Say it again.
So I thought that the initial kind of idea of having these nuclear facilities was to generate power, right? But they were saying, hey, okay, you can do this for power, but don't be enriching stuff further that could potentially turn into a nuclear weapon. So I thought the narrative was like just doing this for power, and if that's true, then if we have a disruption in these nuclear facilities, do we have a disruption in their power grid? And is that reflective in maybe some cities having power outages or not being powered? That's what I want to kind of understand.
No, Iran, according to my understanding, Iran doesn't rely on nuclear power to generate electricity, and they have a lot of oil. When I say a lot, they can pour 3 to 5 million barrel a day of oil. That's a lot, and so they use that. And because there is a blockade on them, they cannot export it. So they use most of it, and they export only to countries like China. Only China imports the oil from them. So it's so cheap. It's way cheaper to use oil to generate electricity, and also the gas, like the gas. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the story then for them enriching at any level? At any level, what was the reason and the acceptance for them to have nuclear facilities, even if they were going to enrich it to a minimal level? So that was acceptable.
It was for power. It was for power.
It was for power.
So back in the 70s, the atoms of peace, right? So a lot of these countries were given, or someone helped them develop these nuclear plants. So I guess theirs was from Russia. Atoms of peace was the United States, and it was under the Shah. So they were supposed to have up to 20 nuclear plants by a certain time. They haven't. They only have one right now. They only need 3.5%, and then they need additional for isotopes when it comes to medical. So the thing is, while they do use oil, they still also use nuclear. So they need it for civilian use. And according to the NPT that they signed, they should be able to have access to it.
I'm not sure about that. Because
the name of the nuclear plant, and I'll go ahead and put it in the chat.
Yeah, but like the civilian use, I'm not sure like how much or what's the percentage of the power generated by.
So the actual organization that does their checks, which they get 5 times as many checks as any other nation, actually was the one that came up with that number for the original JCPOA that was signed under Obama. So that's the number that they said they need. They're overindulging in uranium enrichment. They don't have fucking warheads. Just because we have the uranium, they still have to have the warheads. They still have to have the vehicle to move it.
So if you take a look at the countries that use the nuclear power to generate electricity, you will find out that all these countries don't have any other form of They don't have oil, they don't have gas, they don't have all that, like natural resources. Like France, for example. France, I think it's the number one nuclear power user. They don't have other choices. But countries that have oil, I don't think it would be cheaper to use nuclear power. I don't think it's cheaper. But what amazes me is Iran started the nuclear program in the 50s, in the era of Shah, like the ancient regime. And then they paused it for a couple years in the 80s after the Islamic Revolution, and then they started again. Actually, they started the nuclear program even before North Korea, like way before North Korea. North Korea in 2002, they had a disagreement with the United States. After this disagreement, they fired all the international nuclear inspectors. I don't know if I can call them like this, but anyway, they fired them. And from 2002, they started weaponizing their program. Guess when was their first test of a nuclear bomb? It was a small one, but still a weapon, nuclear weapon. 2006, like 4 years later, they made a bomb. And 3 years after that, like in 2009, they tested another bomb, which is 12 times more powerful than the first one. You see what I mean? Iran, on the other hand, they had so many chances to weaponize their program. I don't know, like I don't understand Iran exactly, whether they are genuinely credible when they say we don't want a weapon, or they're too stupid to make a bomb. Like and actually North Korea struggles more than Iran. The blockade on North Korea is way bigger than Iran. Like the North Korean people can't find what to eat. They're starving. The Iranian people, they're not they don't struggle a lot. Iran is still exports many things, and they have many partners that help them, and so I really don't understand, and I'm trying not to believe it, but that's what I'm leaning for. The Iranian regime is too dumb, like too dumb.
I ain't gonna say all that, but you're wrong. Nuclear is cheaper than oil, and it's cleaner. And you can say they're dumb, but there's intel that they had blueprints to even design a warhead. The difference between North Korea and freaking Iran is they actually they had blueprints as well, and they went and built a warhead. Iran hasn't done it.
So you said it's cheaper for Iran to use nuclear power than rather than oil?
It's cheaper to use nuclear than it is to use oil. Okay. And then you talk about countries using one. The United States use multiple. We use oil. We use nuclear. We use coal. We still use coal, believe it or not, in some states. So you can think that countries only use one source. I don't know where you're from, but I know a lot of countries use different things for power, to generate power. So I don't know.
No, I didn't say.
You are from the Middle East, and so you can let.
As I'm reading about Iran having power outages, I mean, there's a lot of information that's saying Iran suffers from power outages that was caused by natural weather, gas shortages, nationwide electricity. And I thought that was the original reason why, at least I remember, when they started up the program, was because there is a lot of outages. So maybe they're not as
expensive, and it's hard to use. It's expensive. Nuclear is so much cheaper. It's cleaner, and they only have one. They were supposed to have 20 by the 2000s. That was their plan. It just never came to fruition.
Sorry. Yes. Why I said it's cheaper to use oil in Iran. I'm not saying like in every country. I'm talking specifically about Iran. It's cheaper because I'm telling you, Iran is floating on an ocean of oil. Like the oil is, and it's cheap to get it out. Like many countries, they have oil, but it's expensive to pump it. In Iran, it's cheap, and they have a lot. And plus, they have a blockade. They cannot export their oil to Europe, for example. I'm not 100% sure, but I think only China and India import their oil from Iran. Other countries, they don't. And when they buy it, China buy it with 30% off. 30% off the price, because they are just a few nations, one of the few nations that import from Iran. So that's what makes oil cheap in Iran, inside Iran. Because they use it, they just pump it and use it themselves. So it's too cheap. They don't have other alternatives. That's why I find it hard for me to, like, why would Iran use nuclear power if it is more expensive comparing to oil? In their case, I'm not saying in every case. In their case, I hope you understand me.
No, that's interesting that you're saying that. I'm looking at something from the worldbank.org, and it's saying Iran's economy is characterized by its hydrocarbon, agricultural, and service sectors, as well as noticeable state presence in the manufacturing and financial services. Iran ranks second in the world for natural gas reserves and fourth for proven crude oil reserves. So it sounds like they are a natural gas and crude oil kind of like, I don't want to say powerhouse, but just, they have a strong presence in those sectors. And yeah, if they don't have access to world markets like other places, I can see how that can affect their pocketbooks. But still, and that's coming from the World Bank too. So
I mean, they were found on oil, and that's why the Shah got outed, because of oil. Yeah, they have oil. Kuwait has oil. The Middle East has oil. They have sanctions on them. So the thing is, you're right when it comes to, they do use oil, but they use both. They use nuclear as well for their electricity. Well, believe it or not, you can Google that plant and see what it's being used for. Like, I don't know if you're Shia, Sunni, what are you? And maybe that's a blockage. But, like, you gotta put that down and just look at what exactly they need it for infrastructure, and they need it for medical purposes.
I don't have a problem with them being Shia or Sunni, or I don't care about that. I'm just, telling you my understanding of the situation. That's it.
Yeah, but like factually, let's just look at facts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, people get cancer, people get sick. They need it for medical purposes. And then if you have a plant that is producing electricity, whether it's obviously not the whole country, because Iran is not a small country, but if it's producing electricity, why are you going to say that? Why are you going to take away from the civilian population that is using it for electricity? Like, Just that piece right there alone, okay? And if it's 3.5%, that was the agreed on number from the JCPOA with the research that was done by the smart guys, not a dummy like Patty or dummy in this room. This is what the smart guys said they need to maintain. Then why not allow them to at least produce 3.5%? That's not a problem. They're going to be monitored. People know, like, we just got to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust them. I don't trust Hezbollah. I don't trust Houthis. I don't trust none of them.
Do you trust Israel?
I trust Jewish people. I don't trust the government.
No, but hold
Next
on.
question. Next question. That's a loaded question, buddy.
No, sorry. You said you don't trust Hezbollah. You don't trust Iran. You don't trust Houthis.
I don't trust
all
the
these,
European government. I don't trust the Ayatollah. I don't trust freaking. I don't think the Iranian people are bad. I think they're in a situation.
What about the Israeli government?
I don't trust them either. At least the right wing of their government.
Okay, gotcha.
Their own National Guard don't trust their right wing. You don't remember there was a protest about 2 years ago where they didn't want to return?
Yeah.
And that was their own military, the idea.
Yeah, I thought that didn't Israel kind of like don't they have something like a Supreme Court, and they were kind of oust him, and it never happened, and then he got more power.
It started in 2020. They're just going through cross-examinations as of this month, and they put it on pause for war. Every time it's an excuse. I can't go to court because of war. I can't go to court because of war. He's been in court since 2020. It's 5 years later.
And this is within his own country. His own country trying to put.
So he's basically a dictator,
but he can't.
I don't know about him being a dictator, but I know he's a thief.
Yeah, I mean, a thief and a dictator. So in other words, he'll start wars every time his trial comes up to stay in power. Sometimes dictators, maybe threaten their people, they kill their people to stay in power. Sometimes they just start wars with other people and they can subvert, a lot of other shit to stay in power. I think Bill Clinton said that the other day about BB.
You said BB is a thief and he's not a war criminal?
He's definitely a war criminal and definitely a thief. Doesn't he have like fraud charges, some shit like that going on? And definitely.
Yeah, but he's going through the due process. In my mind, he's a thief. How about that?
I mean, the world court is after him. His own country's after him. A lot of people are trying to get him to sit down and talk about what he's doing, but he keeps on shooting off rockets. And then it pauses everything, and then, dude, he's been around since, like, what? Clinton, right? Since Clinton, right?
Yeah.
Come on now. I think he's been around for longer than Putin has been around, right? He's been around longer than Putin, right?
Yeah. Putin started governing in 1999, around that time.
Damn, Netanyahu like 92, right?
Netanyahu since the 90s, yeah. I don't remember exactly the year, but yeah, he's.
I couldn't even tell you who was before Netanyahu. I couldn't tell you because I don't know. And I've been around for a long time.
Was it
was dirt.
Well, you have Sharon, you have Ehud Olmert, you have what's the other guy? Some of them, but that guy, Sharon was a big guy before he died. And then you had, going way back, Yitzhak Rabin, he was assassinated. You had Perez.
They said that he might be behind that Rabin.
Yes, Menachem Begin. I'm sorry. Menachem Begin, yes. Well, Yitzhak Rabin's wife did say that Bibi contributed to her husband being assassinated by ratcheting up the rhetoric, and when, instead of calming it down, he ratcheted up, and you had these zesty or folks who were livid that, you know, he could have calmed down. He didn't. His widow did say that.
And then wasn't Menachem Begin like also a terrorist, and he helped like blow a building up?
Well, you can go back. You can go back to what's the guy who founded one of the founders of Israel. I forgot. They blew up the hotel. The whole region is just most of them in all of these states or territories have some type of violence in it.
Yep. But have you ever asked the question, why would the U.S. be involved in every war or every conflict?
Okay, one more breaking news. I'm sorry, you guys. Just to reiterate, if we haven't said it 5-10 times in here, Iranian foreign minister says no agreement. But now this is on MSNBC at the bottom of their ticker. But intends to end attacks only if Israel does also. They're saying that they don't have an agreement. I don't know what's going on, but every minute is a different, I don't know if it's the wording, I don't know what's going on here, but it's something as usual with Trump. This shit, something's not right here. Either they are ceasefire or they're not. And Netanyahu hasn't came out and said a word. Has anybody found a quote from Netanyahu yet? Because I'm looking now, my eyes are hurting, looking for him to have said something. Anybody?
I haven't seen anything.
Did y'all hear about that that assassination attempt on October?
When was this? Today?
Like 3 hours ago.
No, I haven't seen that anywhere. Let me see if I can go find it.
And BB is a dangerous thing. If he is as big of a monster as everybody says he is, he must got some kind of good security to not have been taken out by now. 'Cause this is crazy.
I think once he leaves the region's gonna be way better off. Him and like Smotrich and I think Benny Morris. Once that, you know, those extreme point of views leave, it should be way better.
You see some of the policies they trying to pass?
Shit is crazy.
That shit sound like Project 2025.
This might be not politically correct to say, but I think Bibi and his extreme right-wing government has done more harm for the cause of the Jewish state of Israel than probably any other of their leaders in recent time. I think he's done immeasurable damage to that. And it's unfortunate because there is a difference. But I think many people won't see that when they look at all the carnage that he's caused.
Actually, Israel, guys, is going towards extremism more and more. If you think Netanyahu is an extremist, wait a couple years, and you're gonna see what the true Israel is. And actually, the more they become extremist, the more dangerous the region will be to them as a Jewish people. I don't know why they did that and why they did it this way, but you looked for a safe haven for the European Jews. You came to the region, and you think you're still in the 16th century where you can commit a genocide and exterminate the local people and found your country or civilization and nobody gonna say nothing. That's wrong. That's wrong. And also you go to an Arab place, like an Arab region, like you can kill all the Palestinians, okay? And let's say you did it. You succeeded in that. But the other Arabs wouldn't forgive that. Never. Maybe now you're strong. You have technology. Technologia. You have technologia. And also you have alliances with other superpowers. But the situation can change. Can change. And then the retaliation gonna be really, really, really bad. I don't hope so. I don't wish for that. But I'm telling you.
Breaking news. That last ceasefire was bullshit. Israel just attacked them again. Crazy.
This is what I was trying to tell you.
Yo, this shit is crazy.
This is what I was telling you. I told you guys that he's been lying.
Hold on.
They've been lying.
Attack like what? Like what? Like a bomb?
Iran, yeah, they another huge bomb too, and an assassination attempt. And they're trying to figure out, the safety of the Ayatollah.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Wait, Trump said what now? What did Trump say was going on?
No, so that fake ceasefire. Yeah, that was.
Where's CEO? Because he had so much
Where's Manfredi and CEO? Where they at, Britt?
Yeah, because they were so certain.
Look, on cue. I told you guys, they've been lying ever since every ceasefire they had. They've lied.
Hey, can I just?
They've lied.
Hey, let me just ask this to the room. So, Trump tweeted. So when this ceasefire supposedly happened, Trump tweeted that they can still finish out their missions that are already planned for the next 12 hours. I'm just asking.
Yo,
you laugh all you want.
No, it's crazy, bro. I don't know how these Arabs even listen to these ceasefires at this point. Once they they might as well go as far as once they come up with a ceasefire, just start bombing.
But that's what I'm saying. Are ceasefires instant? Are ceasefires always
supposed to be? Supposed to, yeah.
No, not always instant.
Supposed to.
You have phase, then you have ceasefire. Originally, it was supposed to be a phase ceasefire. So that doesn't mean it's an immediate. That's what I was telling y'all earlier. So
Patty, they might as well go ahead and once they strike a ceasefire, from now on, these Arabs should just start fucking throwing their missiles. Because they know, judging by the past of Israel, they're gonna get bombed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they did. Didn't Iran just shoot missiles like 20 minutes ago?
After.
Was. Trump said 12 hours for Israel to wrap up and 6 hours for Iran.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was 12 hours.
No, you got the time wrong.
And 24.
Yeah, 24.
24 hours for Iraq.
Yeah. Okay. So we can go over it again. We can go over the actual verbatim what Trump said in his Truth Social post.
Is that Ace down there? Hey,
guys.
So what happened was, can I just finish, you guys? Because I'm getting really tired. So what happened was when we first opened up this room, I said that it was fake. I've been saying this for hours, and I said it didn't make sense. And especially since Netanyahu, as much as he likes to talk and say that he's not going to stop and give lay the whole plan out of how he's going to go over there and take these people down, both in Gaza and over here and in Iran, he ain't said a word. And then what's coming out of Iran is that we didn't say we were going to stop. And we have a ceasefire when they stop bombing us, and then at the same time, I'm giving you guys in real time that they were still bombing each other in real time live. We listened to that, so this is where we are. Now I'm even more confused. I don't know what is going on. CEO said what did he call it before he left? He put a name to it. Like, then he ended with, don't believe everything Trump. I said, wait a minute, you can't do this. You can't come in here and start celebrating a victory, and then you and Infinity both leave the room by saying you can't believe everything Trump says. It's like, this is getting ridiculous here. He's the president of the United States. And now that I know I can't believe the person who leads this country and supposedly the free world, we are fucked. This is crazy. No, what is going on? What is really happening? Does anybody really know?
I have pinged our favorite Trumpers back in.
I think we're not supposed to know. I think that's it, and I think Trump has told us this. You don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It could happen last minute. He tells us every time. He tells us every time, and then we keep wanting to believe in reason.
Michael Jackson's Palestine song, which is literally never wrote a state. They have no record of ever internet campus or whatever.
Well, yeah, they don't put out.
No substantiation. Things going off on it. He was talking about how one of my school scholars at Dump store was bombed with around getting off on the.
I don't see it yet.
What?
I don't see the room.
It's called. I thought you were in there. There's another it's called. There's search for this word. Just in it. I left. It's in it anonymously. Probably doesn't mean the way it's consistent with subscription. It's going out of search for a person. Find out what room they're in. Did you ever do that? No, here's something. Trump's Iran that Israel ceasefire called the Zionist terrorist stuff. This structure for Zionist PR.
Let's see here. Oh, I found it.
Got it.
And I'm not.
Okay, thanks. I'll talk to you
come
soon.
off in conspiracy theory because it's not a conspiracy theory, but
Yeah.
the music business has historically had a
Doge
major
Republican.
Jewish influence
Doge Republican.
from a business perspective. So, I believe the name of the song I'm seeing is Palestine, Don't Cry. I just don't see something like that being released with the powers that be in the music business. But Michael Jackson was an extreme.
That's exactly the point.
Yeah. He was an extreme humanitarian. And he obviously, we know that he advocated for world peace in a multitude of ways. And it's unfortunate that a song like that didn't get the attention that it truly deserved, because it would have been amplified by him as an artist.
Yeah, he was beefing with Sony very hard during that time, with specifically Tommy Mottola. That's the person he was calling the devil, I think, on that History album.
Wait, who did he call the devil?
I think it was Tommy Mottola.
Who's he?
Wasn't he the Sony president at the time?
He was the head of the president of Sony Records. The History album came out in 1995.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson came out against Tommy Mottola in the late 90s. But if you go back and listen to the History album, you can see where the song Palestine Don't Cry fits into the overall message of the album, because he has the song They Don't Really Care About Us on that album. It's a protest album, so it's unfortunate that song wasn't on that album.
He also has that song, and he talks about Palestine. What About Us? Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I just wanted to throw that out there.